What is your best joke? My grandfather has the heart of a lion and a lifetime ban from the zoo. Guy trying to get hired at a farm, and the farmer says, "Have you ever shoot a horse?" The guy says, "No, but once I told a donkey to fuck off." A man goes into the doctor and says, "I think I have hearing problems." Doctor, "Can you describe the symptoms?" Man, "Sure. Homer's fat and Marge has blue hair." Two fish in a tank, one turns to the other and says, "Do you know how to drive this thing?" Man goes into a butcher's, asks, "What happened to your assistant?" Butcher replies, "Fired him." Man asks, "Why's that?" Butcher replies, "Because he was putting his dick in the bacon slicer." Man asks, "What did you do with the bacon slicer?" Butcher replies, "Fired her as well." Three construction workers have lunch together on top of a tall building. The first one opens his lunchbox and goes, "Another tuna sandwich? I eat tuna sandwich every day. If I have to eat another tuna sandwich, I'm going to jump." The second one opens his lunchbox and also goes, "Man, another turkey club sandwich? I can't stand it anymore. If it's the same tomorrow, I'll jump." The third worker opens his lunchbox, sees a meatball sandwich, and like the others, he says he'll jump if he has to eat another meatball sandwich. The next day, the three men open their lunchboxes. The first one got a tuna sandwich. He writes a goodbye note and jumps. The second got a turkey club and does the same. The third sees he has a meatball sandwich and follows them. At the funeral, the wives of the three men meet. The first one weeps and says, "If only I had known. I would have made him something else." The second wife is angry and goes, "He never told me he wanted something else. If he had just talked to me." They notice that the third wife just looks sort of confused, so they ask her what's wrong. She replies, "I just don't get it. He always made his own lunch." What's the difference between Dubai and Abu Dhabi? People from Dubai don't like the Flintstones, but people from Abu Dhabi do. Bear walks into a bar and says, "Can I have a Coke?" Bartender says, "What's with the big paws?" Bear says, "I don't know. I was born with them." Three mathematicians walk into a bar. The barman says, "Do you all want a beer?" First one says, "I don't know." Second one says, "I don't know." Third one says, "Yes." As Mickey and Minnie were before the judge in divorce court, the judge looked at Mickey and said, "Listen here, Mr. Mouse, I cannot grant you a divorce from Minnie." "But why not, Your Honor?" a stunned Mickey asked. "I have reviewed all the information you submitted to the court, and I can find no evidence to support the allegation that she's crazy," explained the judge. "Your Honor," Mickey exclaimed, "I didn't say she was crazy. I said she was fucking goofy." A photon walks into a hotel and the concierge comes up and says, "May I take your bag, sir?" The photon replies, "No, I'm traveling light." A lady walks into a bar and orders a double entendre, so the bartender gives it to her. Just read this one here recently and haven't had the right chance to deploy it in IRL yet, so I'm still a bit bemused by it. How many gorillas does it take to change a light bulb? Just one. But it takes a shitload of light bulbs. And the Lord said unto John, "Come forth and receive eternal life." But John came fifth and got a toaster. It's kind of a long one, but a good one. One day, St. Peter was manning his station at the pearly gates of heaven, denying or allowing people to enter heaven. Eventually, a guy comes up and starts talking to Peter, and Peter says, "Tell me about the day you died." The guy says, "Man, it was terrible. I got off work early to try and catch my wife cheating on me, as I'd expected she was. Well, I got home to my 14th floor apartment and found my wife naked, wet, and in bed. Obviously, she had just been having sex. So I searched all over my 14th floor apartment and couldn't find anyone, so I decided to have a cigarette on my balcony. Lo and behold, I looked down and saw a naked man hanging by his fingertips, and in a rage, I grabbed a hammer and smashed his fingers. Lucky for him, he landed in some bushes and started to scramble out of them. So I went and pushed my fridge off the edge. It landed on him and killed him. But the act gave me a heart attack, and I died. Peter let the man in and asked the next guy, "Tell me about the day you died." The second man said, "Man, it was awful. I was in my 15th floor apartment doing acrobatics, but see, I have a better range of motion if I'm naked when I do my acrobatics, but I misjudged a jump and fell out my window and off my balcony. Luckily, I caught myself with just my fingertips on the 14th floor apartment balcony. But then some crazy bastard came out and smashed my fingers with a hammer. I managed to land in some bushes, But as I was trying to get out of the bushes, the mad lad dropped a fridge on me and I died." Peter chuckles to himself and allows the man entry. Then Peter turns to the next man and says, "Tell me about the day you died." The third man says, "Okay, so get this, I'm hiding in a fridge." 3 men were in a boat and had 4 cigarettes but no lighter, so they threw 1 cigarette overboard and the whole boat became a cigarette lighter. 3 men, 1 British, 1 Japanese, and 1 American, are trekking through the jungle when they're suddenly captured by a tribe of cannibals. They are brought to the chief, who tells them, "We are going to kill you, eat you, and use your skin to make our canoes. However, we will allow you to choose how you die." The Englishman asks for his gun and a single bullet. He loads it, points it at his head, and says, "God save the Queen." Bang! The Japanese man asks for his sword. They give him his sword. He says, "For honor," before committing harakiri. The American asks for a fork. They give him a fork and he starts going to town on himself. Stabbing himself all over his arms, his legs, his torso. He's bleeding like crazy, but he's not dying quickly. Finally, the chief asks what he's doing. The American looks him in the eye and yells, "Fuck your canoes!" 3 men had a very late night drinking Guinness. They left in the early morning hours and each went to their home. The next day, they all met for an early pint and compared notes about who was drunker the night before. The first guy claims that he was the drunkest, saying, "I drove straight home and walked into the house. As soon as I got through the door, I blew chunks." The second guy said, "You think that was drunk? Hell, I got into my car and wrapped it around the first tree I saw, and I don't even have insurance." The third guy proclaimed, "Damn, I was the drunkest by far. When I got home, I got into a big fight with my wife, knocked a candle over, and burned the whole house down." The room was silent for a moment. Then the first guy spoke out again. "Listen, guys, I don't think you understand. Chunks is my dog. 2 hunters are out in the woods when one of them collapses. He doesn't seem to be breathing and his eyes are glazed." The other guy whips out his phone and calls the emergency services. He gasps, "My friend is dead. What can I do?" The operator says, "Calm down, I can help. First, let's make sure he's dead." There is a silence. Then a shot is heard. Back on the phone, the guy says, "Okay, now what?" Not original by any means, but still a classic. Some of you may be more familiar with the racist version. So 3 guys get stranded out on an island and captured by a cannibal tribe. Not wanting to die, they beg and plead with the tribe's king to let them go. The king tells them that there are 2 ways to earn their freedom and escape back home. The first is to fight their toughest tribe member gladiator style, while the second is a mystery challenge. Desperate and with nothing to lose, all 3 men agree to the mystery challenge. So the king says to the 3 men, "Go into the jungle and collect 10 of any single type of fruit. When you're done, bring them to me." The 3 men enter the jungle to go on their fruit hunt. The first man comes back, proudly carrying a stack of 10 bananas. He presents them to the king, hoping he'll be pleased. But the king declines and tells him the real point of the challenge. It's not over yet. You are to insert all 10 of the fruits in your anus. If you wince in pain, laugh, cry, or show any other emotion, we will throw you into the boiling pot. The man hesitates but proceeds to insert the 10 bananas up his anus. 1.2. But the tearing of his anal cavity is too painful and he cries out of agony. The cannibals throw him into the pot. The second returns and luckily picks cherries. The king tells him to do the same task, as well as the fate that came across Banana Man. The second guy is happy because he is certain he can insert all the cherries in because of their small size, so he proceeds to insert the cherries with ease. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.9. But he bursts out laughing, causing the cannibals to also throw him into the pot. In heaven, the first and second guy meet and discuss their unbelievable misfortune. Halfway through the conversation, the first guy says to the second guy, "I was watching you from up here and I saw that you nearly completed the task, but all of a sudden you laughed. Why?" The which the second guy replies, "I couldn't help it. I saw the third guy bringing pineapples." 2 whales are at a bar. On turns to the other and says, "Boom! Be loud with your best whale sound." The other whale looks at him and says, "Give me your keys, Frank, you're drunk." Thank you for watching Reddit Stories. Please feel free to leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this. May you all have a blessed day.